Hi guys, I'm Melissa and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. Today's video is for anyone who has hit a weight loss plateau. Maybe you have the last 10, 15, or 20 pounds to lose. You already eat quite a healthy diet, but you just want some easy little changes and tweaks that you could make to help get you to that healthy, ideal weight range that you're after. So I'm going to be sharing with you 11 healthy foods that could actually be preventing you from losing that weight. And I'm also going to share with you a healthy swap that you could make instead of those 11 items. So we're going to get right into it. All of these foods are over 700 calories per pound. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I recommend a low calorie density way of eating. And I define that as foods that are whole plant foods under 700 calories per pound. So if you want more information on that, check the links in the description box. I have a whole playlist on this topic called weight loss on my YouTube channel. I'm going to quickly share with you a little bump date. Baby girl is 33, almost 34 weeks. So she'll be here soon and I just can't wait to have her in my arms. All right, I took some notes so that I don't miss anything, so that's why I've got my phone in my hand. So the first item is, of course, the healthy vegetable oils, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. All of these plant oils are almost 4,000 calories per pound. So even if you're not drizzling a lot of them all over your meals and you're just consuming things like healthy salad dressings that contain avocado oil or coconut oil, that alone is increasing the calorie density of that salad by quite a bit. So instead of using oils to saute your vegetables, a really easy swap is to just use a splash of water instead. When you're using water to saute instead of oil, it does mean that you need to stir everything quite frequently so that it doesn't stick to the frying pan, and it may take a little while to figure out how much water to use depending on what it is that you're trying to saute, but just experiment with it. I kind of just start with a little bit, and if it seems like I need to add more water, then I'll add a little bit more water, and I usually put the lid on as well to create some steam when I'm sauteing onions, for example. I am not debating whether or not these vegetable oils are healthy for you. However, it's certain that they are very high in fat, and oil at almost 4,000 calories per pound is about as high as you can get on the calorie density scale. If you compare it to something like zucchini, a pound of zucchini is only 76 calories per pound. A pound of oil is almost 4,000. That's a huge difference. Something I hear a lot from my coaching clients is that they have a hard time giving up the rich and creamy, oily dressings for salad. And I know it's not going to taste the same when you switch to something that is completely low fat, like a dressing made up of blended mangoes and balsamic vinegar and some lime juice. It's not as creamy, it's not as rich, and that's just because it's not as calorie dense. So it will take a little while for your palate to adjust. So I think just be realistic in the fact that when you're switching from having a diet that has a lot of oil in it, you will notice a taste difference and you will notice the difference in the richness of the food. And that is just normal, but I do encourage you to experiment. Experiment with different spices and seasonings and flavors that you enjoy, and combining these low calorie density whole plant foods in unique ways to create dishes and sauces and seasonings that you love. All right, the next healthy food on our list are things like maple syrup and agave and date syrup. All of these so-called healthy sweeteners, while they may be healthier than using refined white sugar, are still extremely packed with calories, over 1,200 calories per pound. And while having a little bit of one of these once in a while might not make a world of a difference to your weight loss, if you are drizzling these things on your oatmeal every single day or adding them to your coffee or your tea, it can make a difference over time. So something that you can do to help yourself transition out of relying on these calorie-rich, healthy sweeteners is to swap for stevia in the meantime and kind of wean yourself off of the stevia. That's something that I did with my oatmeal. So now I can just have a bowl of oatmeal with blueberries, sliced banana, lots of cinnamon, and a bit of unsweetened plant milk, and I enjoy it. But when I first stopped using brown sugar, I did rely on stevia. And again, anytime you're going to be making a change like this, you have to be patient with yourself and know that you're going to go through maybe a few weeks of an adjustment period where your palate kind of has to get used to these new flavors and almost weaning yourself off of the highly concentrated sugars. Next up is tofu, and I actually eat tofu several times per week. When I was in my weight loss phase, when I lost over 35 pounds following low calorie density, I did not eat tofu. Actually, some types of tofu are under 700 calories per pound. However, they are a high fat food. So I would recommend limiting the amount of tofu that you're consuming. Or again, if you're at that plateau and you're trying to break through that weight loss equilibrium, then you may want to avoid tofu for a little while, especially if you're having it often. If you're using tofu in your savory dishes, a great swap is to use beans instead. Beans are still incredibly high in protein. However, they are lower in fat than tofu, and they're still very tasty. And you have a variety of beans to choose from. Kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, lentils, and on and on and on. All right, the next healthy food that could be stalling your weight loss is, of course, nuts, seeds, nut butters, and seed butters like tahini. So if you are putting tahini in your salad dressing or in your hummus that you're making, something as small and seemingly insignificant as that could really be stalling your weight loss progress. Peanut butter is over 2,600 calories per pound. When I first became vegan over 8 years ago, I would have a spoonful of peanut butter as a snack when I was hungry. I would make desserts by rolling up dates and nuts and nut butters and keeping them in the fridge and then having that as a snack, like that rolled up sweet dessert. And I would also put peanut butter in my smoothies. I would also put peanut butter in my oatmeal. I was having so much peanut butter, and that is just so much fat. And I will be completely honest with you. The first few weeks that I stopped putting peanut butter in my oatmeal, I just felt that the oatmeal tasted so bland. It was missing that creaminess. And I realized that the oatmeal was just a vessel for me to consume all of that peanut butter. And when I was left with just the oatmeal and fruit and cinnamon and some stevia, it was just not as rich and creamy and delicious. Now I love how I have my oatmeal because it's been so long since I ate my oatmeal that way. So again, just be patient with your palate as it readjusts. Now, a question that comes up a lot is, what about if I can moderate these types of rich foods? What if I can just cut down and have half as much peanut butter and have it every other day instead of every day? Now, if that's your personality and you can be really honest with yourself and say that you are truly good at moderation, then fantastic. Try that and do an experiment and see if cutting back on it works. But if you are like me and you know that you're someone who, if you like something, you are just going to want to have it all the time, then maybe eliminating it altogether from your diet, at least for a period of time, to kind of see how that affects your weight loss progress, and swapping it out for something else that you still also enjoy, see how that works for you. I really encourage each and every person that I work with to customize this way of eating for your lifestyle, for your personality, for your habits, and for your preferences. Because if you just look at what works for me or what works for some other person that you're watching online, and you think, I have to copy that exact thing so that I can get those exact results, you may be eating dishes that you don't really enjoy, or eating at times that you don't really feel hungry at, and you're not following your own rhythms of your life. So I really recommend taking the time, looking at this all as an experiment, and trying different things out to see what works best for you. And if you quote unquote mess up and end up going back and eating a lot of these rich foods again, then don't worry about it. Start fresh on a new day. Just focus on the next meal in front of you and make the most intelligent decisions you can that are going to get you to the results that you want. All right, next is avocado, which is very healthy. But if you actually look at what a serving size is of avocado, it's like a tiny, tiny little amount. And I would say that most people who are consuming avocado are having bowls of guacamole, or putting an entire avocado on their sandwich, or whatever it may be. But it's a food that I find is so easy to consume quite a bit of, especially because it is so creamy. So again, if you're relying on avocado to make your salad dressings creamy, or you're having it every single day and you're having a hard time losing the last 10 to 15 pounds, you may want to look at cutting back on the avocado or taking a break from it. Do a 30-day experiment without it and see how that goes. Next, raisins and dried fruit. Raisins are over 1,300 calories per pound. That is almost double our 700 calories per pound number that we're staying under. And again, they're not unhealthy, but they are dehydrated. And anytime you remove the water content from a whole plant food, you are concentrating the calories per bite of that food. So instead of raisins, opt for a big bowl of grapes instead. You're consuming that water, and the fiber is helping to keep you full. And just picture how many raisins you could eat in a sitting versus how many grapes that you could eat. The grapes are gonna really fill you up because of all of that water content. The same goes for dried banana chips, dried mango, dried papaya, dried figs, all delicious foods, all fantastic. I love trail mixes and all of that. But again, these are foods that are very densely packed with calories. Next, granola and granola bars. Again, these foods are not necessarily unhealthy, but they are dehydrated. Instead, opt for a bowl of oatmeal. A bowl of oatmeal has all of that water content in it, and it's going to help keep you satiated, and it's under 400 calories per pound. Big difference from the dried granolas and granola bars, which also usually include agave, date syrup, maple syrup, all of these sweeteners, and who knows what else. All right, next, bread, even the healthy breads like Ezekiel bread and wraps and croutons and muffins. While these baked items can be made with healthy flours, flour is still refined, and so these foods are over 1,000 calories per pound. So I encourage you to get creative. Say you like to have crackers. Get potatoes and slice them really thinly, bake them in the oven for 25 minutes on 450 Fahrenheit till they get a bit crispy, and use that as a cracker instead. So if you make a bean dip, put a bit of that bean dip on top of the crackers and enjoy them that way. I know it's not the same as having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I know that these swaps are not going to be exact substitutes for the more densely packed foods that you love. But again, in time, your palate will adjust. And if it's important to you to achieve this weight loss and get into your healthy weight range, then these tiny swaps might be something that you want to try out. Next, now I'm definitely not calling these healthy foods, but the processed vegan meats and cheeses. Yes, they are better in the sense that they are not harming animals, and they also do not contain saturated fat. However, many of these vegan meats, even the ones that are pea protein, they are still packed with oils and artificial ingredients and densely packed with calories. So I do not recommend them for weight loss. Number 10 on our list are rice cakes, rice crackers, popcorn. All of these things are over 700 calories per pound, and they are, again, dehydrated foods. They are not full of water. Now, I shared this in my previous video. A really easy way to think about this, and it's kind of a tip to keep in mind when you're making your meals, is are the ingredients you're using wet ingredients? Things like fruit, things like cooked starches like potatoes, steaming mashed potatoes, or rice, or barley, or millet, or fresh vegetables, steamed vegetables. These foods that contain water are low in calories per pound compared to their dried, dehydrated counterparts. So instead of those foods, I'd sooner you have a bowl of oatmeal. I'd sooner you go have a baked potato and drizzle a tiny bit of ketchup on top, or a baked sweet potato with cinnamon on top. Number 11, last on our list of so-called healthy foods that you may want to limit or avoid altogether if you are looking to lose the last 10 to 20 pounds is protein powders and protein bars. Now, instead of these densely calorie-packed, processed, and packaged foods, I actually recommend 1/3 cup of chickpeas in your smoothie. You can blend that up with fruit and dark leafy greens, a splash of unsweetened plant milk and water, and some cinnamon or whatever flavors that you like, vanilla extract, and blend that all together. You will not even taste the chickpeas. If you do any more than 1/3 cup per one person's serving of smoothie, then you may taste it. I've kind of experimented with this, and once I put quite a bit of chickpeas in, and it really did taste like I was drinking hummus mixed with fruit. I don't recommend it, but if you keep it to about 1/3 cup, then I find that you don't even taste the chickpeas and you're still getting the protein. If that's what you're after and that's the reason you're having these protein powders, then I recommend sticking with a whole plant food source like chickpeas. All right, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up to let me know, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one from me. If you're not yet following me on Instagram, it's at MelissaAlexandria01, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.